Hi, everybody. It's Linda and it's Sterling
Good morning,
coming
everybody.
to you live. Oh, there's fire down there, right?
There's a couple of fires burning. There are.
Are
Yeah,
they
down,
close to you or far away?
not too bad. I think they're in San Bernardino and Riverside, if I remember correctly. And
Oh, gosh.
yeah, out towards Newhall Pass had one. Yeah,
Right, right. Yeah, because people were writing me saying, I hope you're okay. And, Northern California right now, we're doing okay.
I think we will for a while. Yeah. By the way,
Okay, so we have
quick,
the list of messages.
I was going to just do a real quick birthday shout out to our daughter Farah. Today's her birthday, August 2nd. So just a real quick birthday shout out to Farah.
I didn't know you had a daughter.
We do.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Farah.
Farah.
Oh, wow. I love that name.
Yeah, yeah.
So happy birthday, Farah. And I'd like to also give a shout out to my daughter, Nicole,
Okay.
August 5th.
Ah, Nicole?
So we had a couple of Leos.
Absolutely. Leo
Was
the Lion.
she okay as far as raising her? Or
Exactly.
my
all good.
daughter was.
Well, Leo the Lion, right? So.
Oh, yes. She's fantastic now. And she's very intuitive.
Oh, good.
She's
good.
extremely connected. And she's the one child, I've had 3 children. She's the one child that I could see physical body. I saw her before she was born. My other
wonderful.
2, my boys, I didn't see them, but her, I did. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, from the other side, can you tell us if Rod Sterling has any messages?
Linda was asking me about this, my Linda, because he actually has come through a couple of times. But what's interesting is he came through because he wanted to take credit for some of the things he did with his television series, The Twilight Zone. I'm not sure if
Did he write that too, The Twilight Zone?
Yeah, he wrote something like 100 episodes of the Twilight Zone. But one of the things he was communicating to me was that he was actually trying to give a preamble to everybody on a number of topics in 5 major areas. So he would channel some of these shows, but really the challenge was about time, the nonlinearity of time, linear and nonlinear time.
Yeah.
And also space, the thing that goes on in space, social norms, the way people interconnect, nuclear energy and the threats of nuclear catastrophe, and war. So he said, look, I want to make it clear that I try to put all the shows in kind of 5 categories. So I told him.
Interesting.
Yeah. So kind
awesome.
Yeah.
I really liked that show when I was little. Remember that music? It was so. The Twilight Zone. It was so fantastic.
Did.
Do you see Mark Warner reading Volume 5 of the Mueller report in front of the Senate?
I do, late August. And also, again, looks like it comes up next year in March. So for some reason, they start writing some of it. Reading some of it back in late August here, and then next year as well.
Okay. Will voter suppression be adequately dealt with in the 2020 election?
It will be. The good news is that there's going to be a lot of mail-in ballots. So the mail-in ballot process is going to start almost a month before the actual election. So, some of the voter suppression is in the polls, right? And but there'll be enough mail-ins that they'll overcome that. So it will be okay.
Okay. Do you see anything coming up for India's economy?
A bit of a slowdown, a bit of a struggle in India's economy. And interestingly enough, what they're telling me is a bit of a banking crisis in India, but the banking crisis is there's a bit of corruption that ends up swinging through the Indian banking system.
Wow.
But it looks like they kind of uncover that almost starting this year. And then it's in next year, like middle of next year, they kind of get it all corrected.
Wow.
But, a bit of a debacle in the banking system.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. You heard it here, folks. Will Trump be stopped or will to slow down the USPS?
Well, he's certainly trying. I think the biggest impact of that is going to be obviously on the election, the mail-in ballots, but it looks like that's all going to go okay.
I felt that too, yeah.
Enough of a runway there. And by the time Trump gets out of office, we get the new White House installed with Biden, a lot of that's going to get corrected. So,
and they'll fix the Postal Service,
yeah.
In the future, will the entire U.S. experience a complete power electrical blackout? Hmm.
That's come up a number of times. I know a lot of people are concerned about that. What I get on that is right about the time of 9/11, that was 2001, nationwide, they started a whole nother campaign to kind of decouple the power systems, the power grid systems, that is the control. So the control interface for the power systems is now decoupled. So there could be some problems in the Midwest, I'm hearing. But overall, they won't be able to take down the entire all the grid systems because they decoupled them as a safety measure right around 9/11 is when they started that. So,
Okay, so you couldn't do it.
right,
Like there's always backup.
right.
Okay, well, the government now showing all of these UFOs after years of hiding them. So I guess, will the government now? Must mean, will the government acknowledge now?
You know, they're already starting to, but really, the public at large is not going to see a real big, I'll say a prominent uncovering of everything for another 4 to 5 years here. So like 2025 is when the world at large, and certainly the U.S. Will probably be introduced to 4 different species of aliens, 4 different species. Yeah.
All right. Well, they're kind of here to help us. So
They are.
why are citizens receiving in Marin County near me? Why are citizens receiving those small packages with seeds from China? Who is sending them?
It's been all over the news as well. These are actually coming through the Chinese government, and there's actually a malintent. So these are hybrid seeds that are meant to kind of disrupt the food supply.
Whoa.
So that, you know, people should not be planting these seeds. These are they're a bit of a hybrid seed. It's not going to be successful, but they're trying to disrupt the food supply. So these seeds affect other types of foods and plants.
So what were they thinking? They just thought if they could randomly send this out, people would be stupid enough to take it out and plant it?
You
Jesus.
said it. You said it exactly. They were betting on kind of naiveness of a lot of people to say, "Look, I got free seeds. I'll just plant them," and they were hoping that they would then populate. Yeah.
Do you see a cure for Rett syndrome in the near future? I don't even know what Rett syndrome is. Sorry.
Yes. And so a lot of this is coupled to all the gene splicing technology. You and I have talked about a couple of shows here, but there's some real advancements over the next 5 to 6 years here as you get 5, 6 years out, where gene splicing technology becomes much easier for the medical industry. And now they attack a whole number of diseases and syndromes. So, you know, once you know what the genetics are behind it, then you can create they're really injectable solutions that help the body then correct the problem. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Can you give us a peek at what the U.S. and China relationship will be in 2025?
It's like 5 years out approximately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually, it doesn't change demonstrably, but what I do see is a much more what I'll call asymmetrical trade policy. So what that means is it looks to me like the trade policy favors the U.S. in terms of food. So a lot more food going to China. But then I see a lot more automotive products and cars, vehicles coming to the U.S., mostly electric.
Oh,
So
wow.
I see it being a little asymmetrical. Auto industry is probably doesn't benefit as much from the U.S., but the food industry does. Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit of a change in status.
Okay. What is the future of a nonprofit organization? More paperwork to prove you're nonprofit?
Yeah, and a lot of them, most notably, are kind of a lot of religious organizations and whatnot. What I see there is that they're actually going to take steps to change the way they grade nonprofits. So it'll be like a local, national, global kind of a thing, and they're actually going to change the tax policy regarding what kind of a nonprofit is. If it's global in scope, or it's just more national or local. So there'll be a bit of a taxation policy change. Yeah.
Okay. Do aliens have a different perspective to time than we do?
They do, and scientists have been able to prove this because if they didn't understand how to move through space and wormholes and portals, they couldn't overcome light years of time. So they do. They understand time is both linear and nonlinear. So yes, they do understand. Yeah.
Okay, will there be a war between Turkey and Egypt?
I don't see a successful war, but I do see a provocation. They're saying a provocation of Turkey on Turkey's behalf. But
Wow.
looks to me like actually world powers helped to shut that down, including the US, Russia, and China.
Wow.
So actually a lot of world powers get involved to say, like not on our watch. Yeah.
Okay. How will Earth look in 2050?
Wow.
Will it be much longer?
lot of world time questions here. Okay. Yeah. So much different living conditions, but what I mean by that is it looks like there's now more. There's actually there's ocean living, there's underground living, and there's space living. So actually being able inhabitable in different places in space, as well as underwater and underground. And it does appear that a lot of the energy that we're going to see is based on fusion and even cold fusion. They're going to figure out cold fusion energy and solar. So yeah, so living conditions and kind of energy will be very, very different.
Wow, cool. Okay, how do we protect wild horses and donkeys on legally protected land from being wiped out by special interest cattlemen?
So the only thing that that makes a difference here for a lot of them is what they call, I guess, the almighty dollar. So it looks to me like there's some successful lawsuits against a couple of what I'll call high-profile, I don't call them poachers, but people that don't respect the animals. And actually, I see some land seizures. So that kind of hits them in the pocket. And that becomes the model for here's like what not to do, because then your land gets seized.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it looks like the courts kind of have an effect on that.
Kind of like what's going to happen to Trump when they start seizing all this stuff.
They will.
How do we, will either of the Obamas be in the Biden administration?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I think Barack would be in there helping out Biden a lot.
He will, and stay tuned for Michelle too. So.
Okay. Can you comment on mirrors? Some believe they are portals to the other dimension.
Very commonly held belief. There are a lot of people that have that belief. What is true is that there are a number of places on Earth that are portals. So people that have used mirrors around those areas somehow perceive the mirror as being the portal, but it's not. The mirror is a physical device, but it's not a portal.
Okay.
So it's kind of where they get used on Earth. Yeah.
Okay. What happens if a soul doesn't make it to birth?
So like any soul, it's part of a larger spiritual family, and then that soul goes back to the larger spiritual family.
Right.
And so there are certain times where a soul themselves may decide, kind of check, please, I'm going back, or other circumstances, right? So, but they go back to the soul family. Yeah.
Right. Okay. What will the condition of the planet be in? Animal extinction, pollution, global warming in the next century or so?
That kind of almost goes back to the prior question we were talking about, like 2050 and whatnot. So still a lot of different new species of animals that are adaptable to climate. We'll see new species come on the scene. We'll see different ways of living, different ways of power. A lot of the same things that we saw. I don't see a big difference from, let's say, 2050 to 2080 or 2090.
Okay.
But yeah, so different power, fusion, cold fusion, living underground, in ocean, space. Yeah.
What is deja vu?
Deja vu is an intersection between what's known as linear time and nonlinear time. So what happens is, because there's almost two parallel universes running, so let's say heaven and earth, let's say, whenever somebody encounters kind of the effect of nonlinear time, things that have either gone forward or backwards, they feel that. And so that becomes kind of an advanced
I've
experience.
had deja vu. How about you?
Yeah, yep.
Like I know I've been here. There's something so familiar about this.
Right, absolutely.
Do you see the election being delayed?
No, no. And, you know, this is just another futile attempt by Mr. 45. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like they said, he'll be out of office no matter what happens. January 20th, period.
He will. He will. I think even Nancy Pelosi said if they can't decide, she's president.
Yeah, which will really get them going.
Right.
How do ETs consider the racial problem here on Earth? Do they have similar problems?
They do, interestingly enough. So they understand the racial problems here on Earth. They also have racial problems themselves with other species. So I think there's, you know, from what I've seen, there's more than a dozen alien species, probably, you know, 4 major ones that kind of we see, but they do have problems amongst themselves. The key is they don't automatically reach for, you know, nuclear annihilation. Like, I don't like the species, we're going to annihilate. They're a little bit more benevolent than that. So,
Right. Well, they could have interrupted us for some time, but they don't, because they know about free will. Does Trump have a Denmark connection?
You know, he does. There's a lot of money and finances involved in Denmark for Trump. So it looks to me like there are some secret bank accounts in Denmark for Trump. There's some financial arrangements there.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily see anything beyond necessarily like the hidden secrets or that kind of a thing. So.
Okay. Well, remember, he thought Finland was part of Russia. Okay. What is our spiritual connection with trees? That's interesting.
Trees are living things. They actually have a soul.
Yeah.
What's interesting, they attract soul energy. So a lot of times, let's say if you're out and you're trying to bring in your mother or father, people that have passed away, trees can almost amplify that energy. So they attract that soul energy. And so you can feel it. Sometimes people feel they can speak to their relatives through trees or be in a spiritual place. So they amplify spiritual energy. Yeah.
Isn't that something? I know they can talk amongst themselves, even when there's some sort of fire going on. They're warning everybody, fire.
Absolutely, yeah.
Through the ground. So what was Stonehenge built for?
Stonehenge, I think. Is that
Stonehenge, sorry, Stonehenge.
Sorry, yeah.
There's Stonehenge Park and Shopping Center is what I was thinking.
And that was built because of the Costco. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Stonehenge. So it had a couple of purposes. That actually, when it was first built, it actually had magnetic properties. There's some sort of a magnetic energy element to Stonehenge. And then it was also used as a navigation marker for people coming, you know, from other places, right? So extraterrestrials, there was a navigation marker. It had a magnetic property. And then it was actually used as some sort of an anchor to almost worship. So you know, they had some sort of spiritual events around there as well in latter years, but originally built for kind of extraterrestrial purposes, navigation and energy.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything weird hidden in the poles?
You know, there's a number of, I'll call it subterranean bases for the U.S., like the U.S. military in the poles. And there's also some of our, you know, a lot of alien topics in this show, but there are some alien bases buried way underneath the ice as well. But the U.S. is aware of it.
Wow.
So it's a little bit of a cooperation amongst countries, and the U.S. is certainly aware of it.
Wow. Okay. Do you see anything coming up for the next week? Is Biden going to announce a VP?
You know, we're certainly getting very, very close to that. Very, very close. And I think that it's because they still haven't got the ink signed on the paper for the candidate that he wants.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a little bit, yeah. Looks to me
Does
like
the candidate know, Sterling? Does the candidate
absolutely
know who they are? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, so a lot more jumping ship from what's going on here for the Republicans.
Oh,
And
I know, because McConnell said, go ahead and do what you need to do. Basically, he gave them permission.
right. And so I think right now, fully, I think the estimates are maybe 1/3 of the GOP has already jumped ship. And so I think those numbers could even go higher. So I think you'll see a lot more of that
Wow.
this week. Yeah. You know, the ship's going down. So
So is his numbers going to keep falling?
they are.
Okay, thank you. And do you have any information your guys want to share?
They do. This came up this week, but it's come up some other weeks, is that important message that everybody's life path is interconnected. So it's all the things that you do actually do kind of propagate out to the universe.
Right.
And also by the same token, not only what you do, but what others do around you also helps you. So what that also means is that I think many people believe that if I'm not in control, for example, nothing's going to happen. That discounts the work of the universe and everybody else's life path that affects yours. So the message here is that everybody's life path is interconnected. Everybody has a very spiritual purpose for being here.
Right.
And
And we chose to be here in this madness.
We did. And for the next 2 decades, everybody that's here has chosen, said they would help. So.
Right. I often felt that energy, even as a little girl going through nuclear things. I often had that feeling that there was some sort of big deal coming up.
Absolutely.
Because we've dealt with, you were probably too young, but I was just a little girl, but the Kennedy deaths and Martin Luther King and all that drama, riots.
I remember that. I was alive for the Kennedy death. I was.
Oh, you were? Okay.
I was.
I remember my mom being so sad.
Right, right.
I remember thinking she was crying. I remember the funeral on the black and white TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, my friend.
All right. Another happy Sunday.
It flew by, and look at Jack's even saying, we're done.
He wants breakfast or something. So
I'll see you this time next week.
Absolutely. We will do.
They love when you're showing up. And
Well,
we're maybe thinking of you picking people for a 30-minute free reading. We just need to get the details because
right.
I'll talk to you and Linda. We'll figure out, make sure we do it right.
Absolutely. And we'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Namaste.
Good.
Bye, you guys.